G'day guys, Jace back with another 2v2 playthrough guide. I'm going to give you guys again the walkthrough, tell you what I'm thinking, what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve. So this one's going to be Resto Shaman Warrior versus Resto Shaman Warrior, which is the mirror match. Don't love mirrors, they're kind of just a big mess of two people smacking the fuck out of each other. When you're playing into a mirror, it really comes down to who makes the most mistakes and who makes the most, I guess, successful micro plays, who has the most successful interactions like disarming wall breakers and things, for example. So we'll go through this now and I'll stop and intermittently tell you what's going on. Talents for the mirror, you can kind of pick between a couple. So you could see, I think sharpened blades are definite, disarm definite, you need that to disarm those wall breakers, and the third one's a little bit flexible. If you want the defensive option, Master and Commander is a good choice. You can also choose duel, Death Sentence or Warbringer. Death Sentence is good because if the warrior tries to flee when you're about to kill them, you can catch them out, but it's not useful outside of that. Warbringer is good because you increase your damage that you're dealing to the target and stopping them from getting away. If they're low and you charge them, they're rooted for that 2 seconds. It's very helpful. And again, these mirror matches come down to a lot of the time who does the most damage. Duel's good if, I guess, they go you heal a bit. If they don't, it's going to be useless. Just thinking about this too, Storm of Destruction might not be a bad choice, simply because you can wait and pair your Warbreaker, Spear of Bastion, and that together all the time to prevent yourself being disarmed. Alright, let's let this play through a little bit. I think I pick up a Death Sentence here. I don't really recommend it, but yeah, you can. Oh, just waiting. With this, when you get into the arena, I guess what you're trying to achieve is to position yourself so that you can get the charged Stormbolt off first. I don't want him to get me, so I'm going to run from here straight towards, I'll see if he's in my range, I'll get to the pillar, and I'm going to try and wait for him to come out so that I can get him in a position where I can get that charge off first. You want to go first against mirrors. You want to go all your cooldowns in. This was silly of me, he gets it off first, and we start trading. He blade storms early, which means he's not going to be able to protect his Warbreaker too well. He's dealing a bit of damage here. I'm just going to jump into D stance. See here, so my burst comes out now. I blade storm immediately so he can't disarm my Warbreaker, and I fear to get my momentum going. He nearly dies. When the enemy warrior uses parry, your aim is going to be to either, well, you always want to try and get behind them, but keep in mind you can overpower through their parry. So try and get behind them to get off things like execute, for example, but you can just keep parrying them. So I could walk over to the Shaman here, but I'm just going to keep trying to get those overpowers through. You'll see here that I'm just overpowering through that over and over. We get a bit of a go here. So he Warbreakers. You'll see here, as soon as this lights up every time, I'm just going to disarm him. Like I said, those micro interactions are particularly important against the mirror. You want to, every time they Warbreaker, get your disarm off. They get a bit of momentum here, but so do we. He's quite low, so Earthen Wall comes out. Healing Tide's out, but he's so low, so generally you want to kill the Healing Tide against the mirror, but here I just want to kill him. He's so low. I've got charge up, he's intervened away, he's going to give me a free charge, and I'm just chunking him. I probably should have threw out a charge there instead of the Stormbolt and just tried to finish him. So he's low, and I've got Sharpen up. I really should be sharpening, but I don't have the Rage. Prime example of why you need to pull your Rage to use these abilities. So I've sharpened him high. Essentially, I want to have Sharpened Blade up for when the next Stormbolt comes up, so it's okay to just sharpen him high under these circumstances. He tries to hex my healer kicks him. That intervene was a mistake, gives him some more free rage though. Alright, we're in a pretty good spot here. So you'll see, we've got Spear up, and he's running. He's about to be in execute range. But he gets the disarm off. So it's a pretty decent play. We've got good pressure here, so we focus Stormbolt the healer, and we just keep whacking into this guy. You can disarm to prevent them from using Die by the Sword, but you can see here he has used Die by, so I've got no benefit here disarming. At the moment I'm just going to throw executes into him over and over and over. He's spamming that Ignore Pain, just hoping to live. They start to get a bit of momentum on me, and then they run away. So my aim here is just to get back on top of them and start doing more damage. You can see here I'm crushing the damage. He's going to shackle me. I've got reflect up. Do I get the reflect? So I reflect the shackle. And he wall breakers, so I'm going to disarm again. Can't stress enough that these micro interactions between wall breaker and disarm are particularly important. Whoever gets more wall breaker windows is going to win, generally. So he's going for the hex here. His spears come out. We're a little scared, so we throw out the rally. I'm really not going to be able to do too much to him here. He's got the earthen wall tied him up. So we're just sitting D, waiting for our turn. Okay, our turn's come up now. You see there, I've got him low, and I had fear come up. I'm just going to use that immediately. He's stuck in there. Again, he parries, and blade storms, I guess, so I can't stormbolt him and walk behind him and kill him. So pretty good idea. In a situation like this, you see here, I'm actually quite low. I don't have die by for 3 seconds, and he's got die by up. If I were in his position, I'd cancel that blade storm and I'd start throwing executes at me. Let's see. So it's come down. Yep, I think he's caught onto that idea. I don't have much of a choice here but to give them my die by. We overlap Lincoln die by. You don't want to do that. We were in comms, so probably not the best thing to have happened, but when you're that low, you really do have, you know, split seconds, so like 0.5 seconds to think about what you're going to do. So we've got him on the ropes here. Blade Storm comes out. I Stormbolt this guy. My healer's feared. I've got a kick up, so I should be ready to focus kick. The link comes out. And so we get the focus kick there on the hex. That's good. Bolts me. Hex is coming out. Grounding comes down. So we're in a bit of a decent position here. We've got the lucky sudden death proc, so I'm almost all but certain that I'm going to get that execute with the sudden death and then be able to get him back into execute range and keep on chucking away. There you go. Boom. Wall breaker. So what do? We disarm. I don't know why he's disarming me when he's using wall breaker. I've just die-byed, so there's no benefit there. Maybe he wants me to be able to do nothing. I don't know. Probably don't do it. You don't want to do that. You need to save it for wall breaker. So Cap comes out. I'm rooted. I have to kill it. With the mirror too, you want to be constantly moving as close to their shaman as you can, so that your shaman can create distance and he can't be swapped to. Alright, we've got him on the ropes here. So he's low again. He's over here. He's pretty safe. He's going to get these casts off. This guy's actually quite safe here. And Shaman Mastery, the lower the target is, the more they heal. So he's pretty safe. But when the executes start coming out, he's in a bit of trouble. So he spears me. Look at this. He gets the 3%. Oh. Oh no. And he leaps. Not much you can do about that. You just got to stand there and keep walking out of it looking like a dickhead. But oh wow. Just bash on each other. Bash and bash and bash. And you want to get rid of these groundings. If the groundings are on top of you, just take them out. Let your healer do what he's got to do. If that grounding's down and he casts anything, your healer can't kick it. And with the hex, it's the same scenario too. So my healer's going for a hex. I kill the grounding to make sure he gets it. And he lands the hex there. Alright, so we're in a decent position here. It's unfortunate that I've just swapped to D stance before because I can't now get in battle and do a go. But look at this here. 5 seconds before Stormbolt comes up and we've got Spear back up. So we're in a good spot. He's trinketed the hex. I throw out the spear. And part of when you're going to look at doing damage, you need to think about it too. I'm just going to go back and show you the mistake I made. Where are we? Before the spear it was. Okay. So you can see here I'm intending to use that spear. But when I do, look, I've got 29 rage. The spear comes out and is going to give me a bit, but I don't have any stacks of overpower. So I Mortal Strike him, and what all I can do is slam, and I'm in D stance. So I'm not really going to achieve much. Really think about it before you use it. Check where your rotation's at and how much rage you've got, because I wouldn't say it's a waste. He's low, but I really could have made more efficient use of my spear, and Stormbolt's coming off cooldown too, so I could have Stormbolted him into the spear and got a lot more value for that. So Wall Breakers, what do? We disarm. And again, he disarms me when he wall breaks. I don't know. Again, not sure what he's trying to achieve by doing that. I don't even have parry off cooldown. And like I said, this is just zug. Everyone just smashing each other. I'm headbutting him. He's headbutting me. My shaman's doing a bit of damage to him. Bolt comes out. I think here, that Stormbolt that I just did probably would have been better spent on the shaman, maybe. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I've got him low. If I'd have focused Stormbolted that shaman, I picked up that sudden death talent, I could have got him to execute range and just started throwing executes into him repeatedly. So if you've got him low, keep that in mind. Using Stormbolt, it becomes a bit of a habit to use on the DPS, but keep in mind that it could be better used on the healer. Healing Tide comes out. This guy's going to be pretty safe here. Parry comes back out again. So I charge away. I know that he's got a bit of pressure here, and I can't do a whole lot with him having parry up. I just want to get away. They're hurting us. We're going to have to trade parry here. We're going to fear. So when you use parry and they've got you on the defense, you don't simply want to just parry and run. You want to parry and chase them. With parry up, they can't do a whole lot to you. Just make sure that they don't get behind you, and you can just run straight at them and keep going. So because I've got parry up, and I'm in a good position here to use Warbreaker and Battle Stance. But we don't do that. So we don't really make efficient use of that parry here. I think they spooked us a little bit maybe. So good Hex comes out, and I use Intervene as a bit of a mobility tool. Just chasing and chasing. Fun. In twos. Fucking twos is fun. Alright, his spear comes out. I don't think it was ideal for me to actually go behind the pillar there. So I'm going behind the pillar. My healer's over here. I'm putting myself in a really bad spot. If I would have traded places with him and I was behind the pillar, or sorry, he was behind the pillar with me and my healer, well, I'd be looking to either stun or spear and keep me back there. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So he gets the spear out. I'm getting pulled back. My healer has to come into an average spot. Warbreaker comes out again. I get feared, I zerk, and I disarm. And he disarms me again. So by disarming me outside of those Warbreaker windows, he's giving me a chance to do an increased 30% damage to him when my Warbreaker's off cooldown. So you can see here, 26 seconds, I've got Warbreaker, and in 1 second I've got Spear. He's not going to have Disarm to be able to stop me when I use those abilities. And in addition to that too, he doesn't have parry, so it's really risky to disarm me outside those windows, especially when you don't have Die by the Sword coming up. So they do, cap into Hex, it looks like they're trying to do. I actually called here to my healer that I'm going to kick this Hex, and I didn't. So that's bad. I need to walk over there and I need to focus kick him. So my healer is rooted there. Hexed. I need to get away. I get pretty lucky. Mechanicos does his job and he stuns this bloke. So you can see here, we've been crushing them all game. The momentum's really starting to shift in their favour. As is, I really need to do something to shift it back because dampening's really setting in here. So what I could have done there, go back, I get away. So what you want to do here, I'm trying to align the Shaman, that's why I'm running so far, but don't run so far as to allow the enemy warrior to charge you. It can be really frustrating if you try to maintain an appropriate amount of distance to not let him do damage and also preventing from charging you. But I go so far away that he just gets the charge. I stunned, so a bit of a mistake there too. He was already DR'd and I stunned him for 1 second. But when you're this low, you're really doing anything to prevent them from getting a single global off because you're worried they're going to finish you. Alright. So desperate times call for desperate measures. You can see there. Go back. Stars have aligned for us. Battle Stance is ready to go. And Warbreaker is ready to go. He doesn't have Disarm. And this is really why you can't use Disarm outside of those windows. We even get the sudden death proc. I Fat Finger Heroic Leap and I see the Shackles coming out. And Reflects coming up off cooldown. Bang, I Reflect. I'm spamming it. If that Shackle comes out, I lose. My healer gets off an awesome Hex. The enemy Shaman does not have Trinket. And we just close out the game with an Execute. Beautiful. So again, around 2400 MMR. Right, I've got another mirror game that I'm going to show you as well. We'll go back there. So this one's a little, I guess, less clean, but our finish is a little more clean. The micro interactions aren't quite as great from my side of things in this game here. And I decided that I didn't really get enough benefit out of Death Sentence, so I swap it for Warbringer so I can just pump more damage. And again, you're really aiming in these mirrors to pump more damage. This game's much shorter too. Alright, let's see. So again, you're coming out and you're aiming to position yourself so that you can prevent the enemy warrior from charging you. You want to charge him and you want to go on him first. Some people might say they'd wait until the warrior's in battle stance. I don't care. I'm going him. Okay, so he's Warbreakered. We're just going to charge in, disarm. You see here, alright. So he trinkets that Warbreaker, and I agree with his decision to do that. I mean, sorry, my disarm. Trinkets my disarm, and I agree with his decision to do that. And I'm going to explain why. So you can see here, he's got Avatar, Orc Racial, Sharpened Blade, Badge of Ferocity, and Spear. So he's increased 15% bonus critical strike damage. This is going to be his biggest goal of the game because these cooldowns won't all line up again. So it makes sense that if you get disarmed on that go, just trinket and try and go. I Stormbolt him because he's now that I know that he's used the trinket on the disarm, I have to do something to prevent him from getting that massive go. The cap comes out, and a little bit too difficult to target amongst all that crap. Alright. So this is not great for us. We're a little bit behind here. He's now parried as well, so I can't get any momentum. We're stuck in his spear. He's just having his way with us. I'm going to Zerk that. Okay. So I'm hoping here, as my Shaman runs towards the pillar, that he's going to follow. If he follows, I can turn this game around and make the momentum greater from our side of the game. So we're just bashing into each other, and I'll be honest, these guys are actually winning this here. They've got a lot of pressure. I mean, look at this bloke's damage. He's crushing me at the moment. And even the Shaman's beating us. He's had that Dwayne in there, killing us in the spear. This Shaman is running in to try and CC my healer so that they can continue to gain momentum on me. And this really is why you want to go first, because we're quite on the back foot here. Okay. I'm waiting for that to come down. I die by, I don't really have a choice. But again, remember, when you die by, you want to then go aggressive. You don't want to run away, you want to run at them. They can't do anything to you. And it is the opportunity for you to turn the game around and increase your momentum whilst concurrently decreasing theirs. So I want to chase him. I've got that parry up, and this is great. So the sudden death procs there. And we're crushing him now. We've got a fear up and we've got a Stormbolt up. Ideal world would be I get a fear on their Shaman and Stormbolt this guy. I can't quite remember if I do that. So I run over there, I fear him. Okay, we do. So that's good. So he's feared. I've done my own cross CC. He's feared. He's Stormbolted. And I've got Warbreaker off cooldown. I swapped to D-stance for some unknown fucking reason. Back in Mists of Pandaria, it used to be the other way around. So when you're in a battle, it wouldn't have this... It wouldn't show, for example, D-stance there. And it confuses me a bit at the time. Okay, my Shaman gets an awesome Hex. And now we're starting to get the pressure. So, with respect to Arena, it kind of goes in drips and drabs. You're attacking, then you're defending. How you deal with both of those moments in time is going to essentially decide the outcome. If you attack and defend well, obviously you're going to win. These guys attacked really well, so you get to see here how they're going to defend against our attack. He Warbreakers, stuns me to cover it, and I trinket and disarm. I don't want to get Warbreakered and speared. I want to do everything I can again to stop their momentum whilst increasing mine. Just doing damage, trading. Okay, Sharpen's come out. My Shaman's helping me do damage. I spear him. So I've got this spear go. I think what needs to happen here, instead of just throwing out the spear, I should have waited for Stormbolt to be off cooldown. Then I could have speared this warrior and Stormbolted the healer and crossed my own goal again. Because he just stands there and turrets heals. Almost pointless. So I start to look at the Shaman a bit. I think it's a little bit out of frustration. And then I see that their warrior has gone over to my Shaman. This guy's now here with hamstring on him. I know that I can run across that map and go for the warrior again. So he avatars, and I trade intervene for that. So I again want to slow down their pressure whilst increasing ours. He's now going to parry to try and stop me from getting momentum on him, but also he's starting to get a little bit low. So we're in a pretty good spot here, right? He's just parried. He doesn't have disarm. We've got Warbreaker coming off cooldown. He's not going to be able to stop that. We've got Blade Storm as well. Timecodes does his job on me. Okay, here we go. Fear Zerk. So he Warbreakers. I've got Disarm coming off cooldown. I pair it again. So right now, he's got Warbreaker on me, but we're not particularly scared because we've just disarmed him. We're probably more scared of the Shaman right here, to be honest. So in this circumstance here, I'll be watching for what the Shaman's trying to do to me and getting ready to reflect any damage that he's putting out onto me. He gets a little bit spooked. He's now going to try and get away from me. What did we hit him with there? Holy sh... Oh, maybe his rally falls. Let's see. Oh no. We execute him for 18.4k. Nice. He runs off, but it's not going to be enough. We just get to him. Warbringer comes out. Execute comes out. And the game ends there. Does the classic run away and accept defeat. Again, around that 2400 MMR mark. With mirrors, a lot of other warriors are going to look at going for the other Shaman, but I just feel like I have more control personally if I'm on their warrior because I can control what that warrior is doing. So I'm not saying that it's not viable to go the Shaman, it's just that the strategy that I personally like to use is to attack the enemy warrior to put myself in a position of control. I'm there for wall breakers, I'm not getting kited around pillars. It is a little bit more difficult to go healers when you have Australian latency. I play with around 100 to 150 ping. So when you're running around a pillar, it can be hard sometimes to get a hamstring off and it's just simply too frustrating. So I find it a lot easier to just stick on that warrior, control the game and do what I've got to do. Again, you're aiming to do more damage than them and you're aiming to protect your wall breaker windows whilst interrupting theirs. Whoever makes more, I guess, micro plays more successfully is going to win that game. Had a lot of questions about these playthroughs or guides. If there's anything in particular that you want to see, warrior healer versus a certain composition, chuck it in the comments below. Like the video if you liked the playthrough, and subscribe to see when I release a new video. The next two parts of the 9.1.5 Arms Warrior PvP guide should be out hopefully within the week. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a Merry Christmas. See ya.